Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how you can work with the JSON data in Python. Here I have created the JSON file called data.json, and in this JSON file I have created some JSON data. Here I have created the database for the company called Tech Solutions, which is located in New York. And this database stores information about the employees working at the company. Currently there are 3 employees in this database. The first one is the Alice, who is 28 years old and he is working in the engineering department. And the second one is Bob, who is 34 years old and working in the marketing department. Each employee record contains their name, age, and the department they belong to. This structured data helps the company to keep track of its employees effectively and can be easily updated, read, or modified by using programming languages. By organizing the data this way, Tech Solutions company can manage the employees' information effectively, which is important for different tasks like payroll, team assignments, and internal communication. Now we will see how we can use this data in Python and how we can modify this data in Python. Next, move into your Python file. First, you have to import the JSON module in order to work with the JSON data in Python. Next, we are going to read our JSON data from this file. For this, first we have to open this file in a read mode and store it inside a Python variable. For this, you have to type here with space open, create a set of small brackets, create a set of commas, and inside these commas, you have to put the path for your JSON file. My JSON file is located in the same folder as my Python file. So for me, the relative path for my JSON file is just the name for my file. So the name for my file is data.json. You have to put here. Next, you have to create a comma here. Again, create a set of commas here. Now you have to type the mode here. I am going to open this file in a read mode. So you have to type R here. Next, we are going to store this file inside some Python variable. For this, you have to type here as and the name for the variable, which is file. Next, we are going to read the data from this file. Create a new variable with the name of data, space is equal to, now you have to use the JSON module, dot, and you have to use the load function from this module, and inside these brackets you have to put this file variable here. Now it will read the JSON data from this file variable and store all the data inside this data variable. Next, we are going to print this data. For this, you have to type here print and you have to pass this data variable here. And now you have to save your file and go into your terminal and run this file. And now you can see that it will print all the data that we have in our JSON file here. Next, if you are only interested in the employees data from this database, for this you have to go back into the data variable. You have to create a set of large brackets, create a set of commas, and inside these commas you have to pass the key. In our JSON file, we have the keys, for example, employees, company, and location. Now we only want the employees data from this database. Now you have to pass the key employees here. Simply copy it from here and you can paste it here, and again save your file and run your file again. Now you will see that it will only fetch the employees data from this database. And next, if you only want the data of the first person, go back there, create a set large brackets, and inside these brackets you can pass the index. 0 means the first person in our list, and this 1 means the second person, and 2 means the third person. For example, if I want to fetch the Bob data, so I have to pass 1 here. Now again save your file, and if I will run my program here, now you will see I have only the data from the Bob is here. And next, if you want to get the department of the Bob, you have to again create a large brackets and you have to put commas here. Again, you have to pass the key. The key here are name, age, and the department. If you only want to fetch the department of the Bob, you have to pass the department key here. And now save your program. If I run my program again, you will see that it will only print the department of the Bob here. This is how you can fetch the information from the JSON files. And another best way to fetch the employees information, you can use the for loops. For this, you have to go into the next line. I'm going to create a for loop for, and you have to create a variable here, and we are going to fetch the data of each employee that is in the employees dictionary. So for this, you have to use this data create a set of large brackets, and you have to pass the employees key here again. Now it will go through each employee inside this employees dictionary and store it in the variable emp. Now we are going to print the data of the each employee, so you have to pass imp here simply. Now you don't need the indexing here. That's it. Now save your file, go into the terminal and run it again. Okay, we have missed p here, so put p here. Now save your file and run it again. Now you can see that it will fetch the data of the each employee. Now it will go through each employee one by one inside the for loop and print the data here. This is how you can read the data and store it in the Python variables. Next, we are going to add the new employee in the company's database. First, for this, we have to create the data of the new employee. So for this, you have to create a variable with the name of the new employee. And inside this variable, you have to store the information of the new employee. So for this, you have to create a set of curly brackets. You have to put the data in the same format as we have here inside the curly brackets, and you have to pass the set of keys and value. In this case, we have keys, name, age, and department, and the values are Alice, 28, and the engineering. So you can simply copy it from here, the same format, and you can paste it here. Now you can simply change the name here from Alice to John. You can update the age here, 29, and the department here, for example, its department is UE. Next, we have to add this employee inside our database. So our data is already loaded inside the variable data. So for this, you have to call this data variable here. And now we are going inside our employees database. For this, you have to pass the employees key again here. And inside the employees database, we have to add this new employer. So for this, you have to put dot here and you have to type append here, append, and inside this bracket you have to pass this new information about the new employee. Just copy this variable and paste it here. Now if I will print again my database of the employees, so just copy it from here and pass it in the print function. Now save your file and run it again. Now you can see here that the new employee is added in our database and its name is John, age is 29, and its department is UE. Now if I go in my JSON file, and you can see here that we have only 3 persons, not the new person or the new employee was added inside our file. So to write this new employer inside our JSON file, now you have to open your file in a write mode, and then you have to pass this new data inside your file. For this, you have to again use the with function, open, create a set of small brackets, and now you have to again pass the path for your file here, which is data.json. Create a comma here. Now create a set of small brackets. Now you have to write the mode w here. Now we are going to open this file in a write mode. Next, again we have to store this file in some variable. So for this, you can simply type here as and the name of the variable. Now we are going to store this new data and push it in our file. For this, you have to use the JSON module, and from the JSON module you have to use the dump function, and inside the dump function first you have to pass your data. So you have to pass the data variable here. Now we are going to store this data inside this file, which is inside the variable called file. So you have to put the file variable here, and the last you have to put the indent here 4. The indent is just for spacing. It will store the data in the nicer format inside our JSON file. So now save your file and go back into terminal and run it again. Now if I go back into my file again, you can see that the new person is added inside our employees database here. So this is how you can read and write the data inside your JSON files. Next, we are going to remove some employer data from the company's database, and I'm going to remove the Bob's data from the company's database. For this, you have to go back here. Instead of the append function, you can use the pop function here, and inside these brackets you have to pass the index. For example, the Bob is located at the second place inside our database, so I have to pass the index 1 here. So now save your file. So now if I will run my file again, so what it will do, it will remove the Bob data from the company's database. As you can see here, now we have Alice, Charlie, and John. And if I go back in my file, because we have already stored this new data inside our file, So you can see that the Bob is removed from the company's database. So this is how you can remove the data from the company's database. In the last, if you're not working with the files and you are getting your JSON data inside your Python file through APIs or in the communication system between server and clients, then you must have to know how to convert the JSON string format data into the Python dictionary format, and also how to convert the Python dictionary format data into the JSON string format. For example, I'm going to copy this data from here and paste it here. This data is in the Python dictionary format. So before sending this data to the server or the client, we must have to convert this data into the JSON string format. For this, you can simply create a new variable here with the name of JSON string is equal to convert this data into the JSON string format, you have to use the JSON module. You have to use the dumps function, and inside these brackets, you have to pass this variable here. And now we are going to print this JSON string here. Now save your file, go back into your terminal and run it again. Now, as you can see here that your data is now converted into the JSON string data. And similarly, if you want to convert the JSON string data into the Python format, for example, we are going to create the dummy JSON string data here. For this, you have to put the commas here, and you have to replace all the commas with the double commas here inside this. Now the data is converted into the JSON string format. Now you want to convert this data into the Python dictionary, then you have to change the variable here, for example, Python dictionary, and now you have to use the function called loads here, and you have to pass the variable here. Now we are going to print this Python dictionary here. Now again save your file and run it again. Now you can see that your data is converted into the Python dictionary. So this is how you can convert in between these two formats. This is it for today. See you next time. Bye bye.